Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Military Forces Unleashed. Today we're diving into the story of a warship that's been around the block a few times, the MEKO 200 frigate. A true veteran of the seas, this class of ships has been the backbone of several navies for decades. But like any seasoned sailor, the MEKO 200 has its share of scars, stories, and a few skeletons in the closet. We're talking about a design that's been adopted by countries across the globe, a modular approach that was revolutionary at the time, and the ups and downs of trying to please everyone with one platform. So let's get into it. Mission update. Our team is making solid progress thanks to all units in the field. We're locked on target, closing in on the milestone of 1,000 subscribers. But we need one final push to all our subscribers. You're the lifeline that keeps us in the fight. And if you're not yet subscribed, we need you on board. Your subscription and your like fuel our mission to continue delivering top-notch content. So, without further delay, let's dive in and get started. The birth of the MEKO 200 was born out of West Germany's vision in the late 1970s to create a versatile and modular warship that could be tailored to the specific needs of different navies. MEKO stands for Mehrzweck combination, which translates to multi-purpose combination, and that's exactly what these frigates were designed to be. The idea was simple: build a core design that could be modified with different weapons, sensors, and systems, depending on what a customer wanted. It was an ambitious concept that promised flexibility, cost-effectiveness, and a shorter build time. The first MEKO 200 frigate hit the water in the early 1980s, and from there, the design would go on to serve in the navies of Australia, Greece, Portugal, Turkey, and more. But as with any grand plan, things didn't always go smoothly. Well, as it turns out, quite a bit. By the time the first MEKO 200 frigate hit the water in the early 1980s, the grand plan had already run into some turbulence. Different navies wanted different things, and what started as a unified design quickly became a patchwork of varying systems and configurations. The Australians, Greeks, Portuguese, Turks, and others all jumped on board, each with their own wish list, and the result was a fleet of ships that shared a name but little else. Sure, the MEKO 200 was flexible, but that flexibility came with its own set of headaches. Getting all those different systems to work together was no small feat, and the project often felt like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. The Germans were selling modularity, but what they ended up delivering was more like a naval version of Frankenstein's monster, an impressive creation, but one that occasionally struggled to keep all its parts moving in the same direction. At first glance, the MEKO 200 is a bit like the unassuming kid in class who turns out to be a chess prodigy. It might not draw gasps from onlookers, but it's what's under the hood that counts. Measuring around 117 meters long with a beam of 14.8 meters, the ship doesn't exactly scream cutting edge. However, the MEKO 200's design philosophy was revolutionary for its time. The frigate is essentially a floating jigsaw puzzle, built around a modular concept that allows each navy to mix and match weapons, sensors, and other systems like they're customizing a sandwich at a deli. This modular approach gave navies unprecedented flexibility. A Turkish MEKO 200 might pack different gear than an Australian one, but both shared the same fundamental DNA. This was a game changer for countries with unique operational needs and limited budgets. But here's the rub: fitting all these different systems into a relatively compact hull wasn't always a walk in the park. Engineers had to play a high-stakes game of Tetris, and the result was often a tight squeeze that left little room for error or crew comfort. The ship's stealth features were adequate by the standards of the 1980s, designed to minimize radar cross-section and infrared signatures. But let's be honest, it's no ghost in the water by today's benchmarks. The MEKO 200's design aimed for a balance between versatility and survivability, but it didn't hit every target. The compromises made to accommodate different systems often meant that no single version of the ship could be optimized across the board. It was the price of flexibility, and the bill wasn't small. The MEKO 200's armament package is a study in naval pragmatism, a perfect reflection of its design ethos: adaptability over specialization. On paper, this makes the frigate a versatile asset. In reality, it's more of a mixed bag. The ship's design allows each navy to customize the weapons loadout to fit its particular needs, a feature that's both a blessing and a curse. Take the Harpoon anti-ship missiles, for instance, a staple of modern naval warfare. They can be easily integrated, providing the MEKO 200 with credible offensive firepower. Add to that the 127mm main gun, which can pound surface targets or provide naval gunfire support, and you've got a frigate that can hold its own in a fight. One of the key selling points of the MEKO 200 was that it could be customized for different missions. Some versions are heavily armed for surface combat, while others are optimized for anti-submarine warfare, complete with advanced sonar and torpedo systems. However, this modular approach means that no two MEKO 200s are exactly alike. For example, the Turkish variant, the Barbaros class, is heavily geared towards surface warfare, while the Australian Anzac class leans more towards air defense and multi-role operations. This makes each ship uniquely suited to its national strategy, but it also means that trying to coordinate a joint operation with different variants can be a logistical nightmare. You've got ships that, on paper, belong to the same class, but their capabilities can be vastly different depending on how they've been outfitted. This lack of standardization can lead to serious issues when it comes to interoperability, especially in multinational operations. Imagine trying to plan a naval exercise with a fleet of MEKO 200s from different countries, each with its own unique set of weapons and systems. The logistical challenges alone are enough to give any naval planner a headache. For instance, resupplying a task force becomes a complicated affair when each ship has different ammunition and parts requirements. Worse still, in a high-stakes combat situation, the differences in armament could lead to critical gaps in capability, putting the entire operation at risk. It's a classic case of trying to please everyone and ending up with a system that, while versatile, is also incredibly complex and harder to manage. At the end of the day, the MEKO 200's armament reflects the ship's broader design philosophy, adaptability over specialization. This has its advantages, particularly for smaller navies that need a frigate capable of performing multiple roles. But it also means that in a fleet of MEKO 200s, not all ships are created equal. Some are bristling with firepower, ready to go toe-to-toe with surface threats, while others are more focused on keeping submarines at bay. This variability is both the ship's greatest strength and its most significant weakness. In the right hands, a well-equipped MEKO 200 can be a formidable opponent. But the fact that the class is so diverse means that each ship's effectiveness is directly tied to how well its armament matches the mission at hand. In other words, it's a versatile platform, but not necessarily the best tool for every job. The MEKO 200's Kodag propulsion system was hailed as a stroke of engineering brilliance when it first rolled out. Combining gas turbines for high-speed sprints with diesel engines for fuel-efficient cruising seemed like a masterstroke, offering a versatile range of operational profiles. On a good day, this setup lets the ship zip through the water at 30 knots or leisurely cruise for 6,500 nautical miles without guzzling fuel like a drunken sailor. But this dual-power approach also brings a fair share of headaches. Switching between the diesel and gas turbines is more of an art than a science. It requires precise coordination, and when things go wrong, they go wrong in a big way. Think sudden power loss or unexpected shutdowns. As these frigates age, the system's complexity has become its Achilles heel. Parts wear out faster than expected, requiring specialized maintenance that's neither cheap nor quick. What once seemed like a clever solution has turned into a logistical nightmare, with spare parts becoming scarcer and maintenance costs spiraling upwards. The result? Crews often find themselves spending more time in dry dock than out on the open sea, tinkering with an increasingly temperamental system that, while impressive in theory, is proving to be a major liability in practice. The MEKO 200 frigates have proven their global reach, taking on diverse missions from the Mediterranean to the Pacific. They've played crucial roles in anti-piracy operations off Somalia and enforced sanctions in the tense waters of the Persian Gulf. These versatile ships also shine in NATO exercises, where their adaptability is put to the test. Their participation in joint operations with allies in the Pacific underscores their strategic importance. However, the early days weren't without issues. Navies struggled with sensor integration and fire control systems, leading to delays that affected mission success. Despite these challenges, the MEKO 200s have proven they can adapt and perform, even in complex, multi-nation environments. The MEKO 200's real-world deployments haven't been without bumps. Initial outings revealed significant issues, especially with sensor and fire control integration, causing delays and operational difficulties. These problems had real consequences, forcing navies to reassess the ship's capabilities under pressure. While most of these issues were eventually resolved through upgrades, the experience was a stark reminder that even a versatile warship like the MEKO 200 isn't immune to the complexities of modern warfare. The early struggles sharpened the ship's capabilities over time, proving that true adaptability requires constant improvement and refinement. For all its strengths, the MEKO 200 is far from perfect. One of the biggest criticisms is cost. While the modular design was supposed to make the frigate more affordable, the reality was that each customer's unique requirements led to price tags that were often higher than expected. Additionally, the ship's design, while innovative in the 1980s, has started to show its age. The lack of space for modern upgrades has become a significant limitation, especially as newer threats and technologies emerge. The frigate's anti-submarine capabilities have also been a point of criticism, with some navies finding them inadequate for modern warfare. Furthermore, the modular approach, while flexible, has led to logistical challenges, with different navies struggling to maintain and support ships that are technically the same class, but outfitted with entirely different systems. Despite its flaws, the MEKO 200 remains a symbol of naval power for the countries that operate it. It represents a bold attempt at standardization and cooperation across borders, even if the execution wasn't always flawless. The presence of these frigates in strategic waters sends a clear message that their operators are serious about protecting their interests. Whether they will continue to hold their own against more modern adversaries remains to be seen, but for now, they serve as a reminder of what was once considered cutting-edge naval technology. The MEKO 200 may not be perfect, but it's still a force to be reckoned with. That's it for this episode of Military Forces Unleashed. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the MEKO 200 frigate, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Got thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments below and let us know what else you'd like to see. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And remember, in modern warfare, it's not just about how much firepower you pack, but how smart you are in using it. Stay sharp.